Very good. Thank you, Abby. Thank you, Nicola, and everyone else for joining. We're going to kick off. Thank you very much for the invitation, Abby and your team, Nicola, Jenny, everybody in the Illinois Soccer Referee Committee for the invitation to this webinar, Continuing Education. The topic today is handball. My name is Pedro Trejo. I work for US Soccer as manager, referee development. I do have the National Referee Coach license, and I'm here happy to help, happy to make it interactive, fun for everybody to practice. So today's agenda or outline, we're going to explore, some of you explore because maybe you haven't seen much of this information or you're just starting out, or review for those of you that have a lot more experience. Great that you're here because you're going to help others as well as review for yourself in those games. And this is just a little part of Law 12, Fouls and Misconduct from IFAB. And it's under Section 1, direct free kick, and it's handling the ball. It's just a couple of paragraphs. We'll go over briefly some of it. And there's a lot more that we will not be able to cover. But again, I invite you and everyone else to read a little bit on it to get more clarification, increase understanding. We're going to go over some video clips as examples of handling the ball or not handling the ball, no offense. And then at the end, we'll have a quick wrap up of the key takeaways for tonight. Okay, to start off, handling the ball, as I was mentioning to you, you're going to see these diagrams in the IFAB's Laws of the Game or the app, whichever one you prefer to look at. And here, the point is to differentiate where is considered hand or arm and where it's not. So the green is the shoulder area. That is not considered a hand or arm, right? And so a player can play the ball with their shoulder. I don't know if you can see my ball, but if it's in the shoulder here, you're able to play the ball, no problem, no offense, okay? And then the red part is where the arm and the hand are. And so it's the armpit and below towards the arm. That's what we mean when we say hand or arm. Now, be careful here because it says red handball, meaning a foul or offense. Not necessarily always. So on the left-hand side, you see the hand next to the body. Usually, typically, that's not a handball because they're not making their body bigger. And then on the right side, when the hand is over outstretched, then you may be talking about handling offense. And we'll get to it, okay? Very important, the next statement, directly from the law. Not every time that there's a touch between the player's hand or arm with the ball, that doesn't mean it's an offense, okay? Not every time. So if they come together, it's not always penalized or is not always an offense, okay? Straight from the law, keep that in mind, okay? Next, now, when is it an offense? When is it a foul? When do we have to blow the whistle to stop the game for a handball offense? This has happened if the player, for number one, deliberately touches the ball. And here, this one is the most clear, universally across the board, coaches, most parents, I would say, players, referees, because it's the hand moving towards the ball, clear action moving towards the ball. That's what this means, deliberately touching the ball. The one that's a little bit more complex, gets a lot of people, missing or getting it right or wrong, discussion, controversy, this and that and the other, drama, as some people would say, when the player touches the ball with their hand or arm, and this hand or arm is making their body bigger, as you saw in the illustration, and as you'll see in some of the examples. So keep this in mind, a player making their body bigger by using their hand or arm, okay? And this usually means that, a player is making an action and their arm is in a position that is not justifiable, right, for what they're doing, running, jumping, making a challenge, etc. They're making themselves bigger. We'll talk more about that in some examples. So that's two things that make a handball offense. And then finally, number three is when the player scores a goal in the opponent's goal. okay? And this can be done two ways. One is directly from the hand and then straight into the opponent's goal. Nothing else happens. Nobody else touches the ball, goes into the opponent's goal. This is handball offense. Blow the whistle, call a free kick, you know. Or it goes to the hand and then immediately scores. So like 1-2 touch, and that player who touched the ball with their hand or arm, you know, scores. Okay. And it doesn't matter if it's incidental or accidental, if it's directly scoring or immediate scoring, this is handball. Okay. So think about these three things when you're thinking about handball. The first one, again, is very universal. The third one is pretty straightforward. And that's why we're going to focus on the second one. And there's some examples of the first one. When is the player making themselves bigger? When is not justifiable? When are they taking a risk? We'll use some of that verbiage or language during the examples. Okay. All right. So we're going to take a look at some videos right away, right off the bat, and we'll see how we do as a group. Let's see here. Give me a moment to share. Okay, let me find that. Here we go. And then just watch your screen. Make your screen as big or as large as you can. And then pay attention. Take some notes if you want. This is video 1. And here's our first example. Did anybody see it? All right, well, we're gonna keep going. There's a camera close up. We're focusing on handball. All right, there was that other, and then here's a third time, and even a fourth time. All right, so let's launch the poll, and let's see what you guys think as a group. Let me see if I can relaunch here. Yep. Okay, you should be able to see, and again, there's nothing wrong. I mean, we're gonna, depending on how we do as a group, we'll spend some time, we'll spend a little time. Again, we're trying to find out what are your thoughts here. Good, everybody, or most everybody is making a decision and sharing their thoughts, or their choice, I should say. Good, over 90%, 10 more seconds. All right, we'll end it there. And here's what, as a group, here's what we have. 77% say, nope, this is not a handball. 23% say, yeah, they would call this a handball, blow the whistle. All right. So let's take a look here. Okay. It's a bit hard to see from here because number 18, White's head is on the way. But the next, here we go. We'll slow it down for you. Oops. Here we go. All right. So yeah, it's above the armpit, closer to the shoulder. Okay. Those of you who said no handball, very good. Good observation skills. You're paying attention. You had good resolution, or you were able to see it. But again, during your game, you have to make sure, you know, that where does the ball make contact with the player? And in some cases, you will see something like this, where it's a shoulder, and we should not stop the game for this. I know early on, you see the hands wide as making a jump for it, but then he comes back before the contact. And then as soon as when the contact happens, the hand is already tucked back in. Okay. Good. Let's look at another example, and we might get some people to talk about the next example, perhaps. It already happened. It's a far away view. Let's see if we have the replay. Yep, there it is, the replay. And there we go. Okay. Let's run the poll again. Let's see what you think about this one. And please go ahead and vote. All right, 87%. Keep it up. Keep it going. Very good. 89%. Last time we had 92. There we go. We are at 90%. There's some new people joining. All right, we'll stop it there for this example. And overwhelmingly 83% in this case, yes, you will blow the whistle and call the handball. All right, so I'm gonna try getting 2 or 3 of you to share your thoughts. So if you can please raise your hand, and Abby and Nicola, I may ask for your help. I'm not sure if you're gonna be able to help me unmute people, but please raise your hand if you said handball 83%, because I'm interested to hear your thoughts on that. Oh, there we go. Sam, let me see, how can I get you to unmute? Let me check it out. Oh, there you are. Okay, you should be able to talk.
Can you hear me?
Yes, please.
So she slides in, hands over her head. She's making herself big. And she gets caught.
What was the last part? I'm sorry.
And she gets caught.
Yes.
And the ball goes off her elbow.
Yes. In a slide tackle, is this a justifiable position? Having the hands this wide as we see here in this frame, Sammy?
For the upper shoulder, no. For the lower shoulder to support your body as you go in, yes.
There we go. And then which hand does the ball make contact with?
The upper shoulder.
Yeah, on the right side.
The right hand. Right side.
Fantastic. If you are, as Sam was describing, thinking the same way, if you call this handball offense, absolutely right. Okay. So for those of you who have had the other way, now you have this consideration again, making the body bigger by extending their hands or arms in a non-justifiable position. Very good point, Samuel. The other hand, if it's going down for support, that's a different story. Okay, very good. Thank you. Let's go to the next one and trying to show a few different examples to get those 2 points, deliberate handling or making the body unnaturally bigger. As well as the point about not every time that there's the contact between the hand and the arm, we have an offense. So we talked about that in the previous slide too. Okay. So let's see what we think on this one. Everybody's doing great with the polls, by the way. 92% or above participation. Fantastic, fantastic. All right. We're in the mid 80s, a few more out of 41 participants. We got 35. %, 10 more seconds. Come on, you're the referee, make a decision. 87%, good. 90%, excellent. All right. This one is a bit more interesting. Yep, 65% and 35%. So most of you say no handball, but there's still a good percentage that says handball here. So let's get at least one person from each side, and we'll start with the majority, 65%. Those of you who said no handball, please raise your hand at this time. And Sam, since you already participated, thank you very much for now. Let's give a chance for someone else. So those of you who said no handball, no offense, please raise your hand. Mary Beth, let's see if we can get you in. Okay. Mary Beth, you had no handball. Share with us
Correct.
briefly. Yep.
Her hand is in a natural position. She's not making her body any bigger, and she did not intentionally redirect the direction of the ball.
Okay. Not making herself bigger. What tells you that? What gives it away for you?
The way she has her arms, both arms are tucked in the same way on both sides of her body, both the right and the left arm.
Okay, very good. And then your last statement was something related to, what was it again? Intent to
It did, intentionally changing the direction intentionally of the ball with a handball.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, careful with when we say intent, because we really don't know, but absolutely her actions, there's no indication or
Correct.
movement of the arm away from the body in an attempt to, play the ball with her hand. I think is that fair to say, Mary Beth?
Yes, correct.
Okay, fantastic. And then hold it there, Mary Beth. And now let's switch and let's go to the other side. Those of you that said, no, this is a handball. If one of you or several of you can raise your hand, and then let's see what are your thoughts, what are your considerations for calling it a handball. Okay, don't be shy. Oh, Brian, let's go to Brian. Thank you, Brian. Please, shortly tell us.
Yeah, it looks very much like it's outside of the frame of body to me. And if the arm isn't in that position, the ball continues into the penalty area. And so I would whistle that.
Okay, fair enough. Mary Beth, back to you. What would you say that, if the player tells you something like that, what would you say?
To the player? The offensive or
here
the
in our discussions, how would you, how would you counter?
I would say that the player did not intentionally move her hand. She was sliding her body and directing her body, and she pulled her hand back. So there's absolutely nowhere else her hand could have gone, her arm. It was in a natural position. There's nowhere else she could have put it to avoid that ball coming into her arm like so.
Yeah. And what about right here on this frame? Is there anything, even though it's a slow motion, but anything to add there?
No, she's in a good defensive position. She's got her knees bent. She has her arms at her side. She's not doing any, she has to have her arms away from her body in order to she's sliding to the right. So she has to, she can't have her hands totally against her or she would fall because she would lose her center of gravity. So she's balancing herself with the position of her arms to maintain her good defensive position.
Yeah. There's certainly, the hands or arms are certainly not all the way tucked in for sure, but they are within that silhouette. So, Brian, what can you tell me about the distance from where the ball is coming and how fast you might think that ball is coming?
Well, so it's instantaneous. So there's no real time to, put your hands directly in, although she's trying to spin away.
Yeah.
But it's almost like the spin movement is what put the arm in front of the path of the ball. So help me understand, to me, it's outside the frame of the body. If that's not the threshold, then what's the threshold for distance from, strike of the ball to defender getting hit in the arm with the ball? Is there some sort of law that denotes that?
Yeah. That's the good thought process there, Brian. Yes. It doesn't have to be completely tucked in. If it's tucked in, it's clear for us referees to say no offense. If it's a little bit away, similar to what Mary Beth was saying, justifiable by her waiting, center of gravity, getting ready for defending one way or another, and then the ball coming to the hand from that initial position, which is not far away from the body. Now, if the initial position was like, I don't know if you can see me on the screen, but if it's like a 90 degree from the torso, does that make sense, Brian?
Yep.
Then we're talking way past that threshold. But you're right. In this example, we're within the distance of the silhouette, justifiable, not taking a risk, if that makes sense, if that helps. We're going to see an example, Brian, a little bit later, where the opposite is true. And it's close, same about distance, about the same distance, though. Okay?
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mary Beth. Thank you, Brian. So again,
Thank you.
final decision here, no handball, 65%. But again, that 33%, we need to make adjustments. We need to recalibrate, and it's okay. Maybe you have been calling it, a certain way. The point is for us to get as consistent as we can. And hopefully, again, this is going to help us increase our understanding and make a little bit more consistent all throughout. All right. Next example. Very good so far, everybody. Let's see. Got to shift a little bit from, okay, here we go. I'm tempted to skip the poll and just bring in Mary Beth and Brian.
Oh dear.
Some similarities between this example and the previous one. And I'm just curious how the group is going to answer, and then where each of you land. If you land on the same side, that's okay. We'll ask somebody else. But if you land on opposite sides, it'll be interesting to hear you both. So fair warning there. A bit of a heads up if it happens. But let me see here. Let's run the poll. All right. This is for this last example. Everybody, yep. Pick a choice. Blow the whistle. Call the penalty kick. No, blow the whistle. Let play continue. Very good. 90% once again. We're closing this. Good participation, everyone. And voila. So this is much more clear, or much more, for the group. We're all handball offense, right? A couple of you still no offense. And Mary Beth, where are you on this?
Handball.
You're saying handball, majority.
For sure.
And
yes.
Brian, where are you?
Yeah, I think it's a definite handball.
Definite handball.
Yep.
Okay, fantastic. Oh, sorry, somebody had a comment?
No, go for it.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, overwhelmingly, everybody says handball. So
While he is decelerating on that cross, that he could get the handball, and he did. So I mean, it's not that different from the last example. And maybe if that arm is down at the side, then you have the same set of circumstances. But this one, it's so far away from the body. I don't know how you couldn't call it.
Okay. Thank you, Brian. That was more than one, but that's good. That's all right. Mary Beth, anything else other than what Brian said, perhaps?
No, I would have to agree. Totally agree with all his comments.
Okay. Fantastic. And then the ball last minute.
Yeah.
Everyone comes to that number one of the three, remember? Deliberately touching it. So slapping it, like you said, or moving your hand towards the ball, wherever the ball is going. And so that's the difference here too, Brian. That's number one rather than justifiable or not. But I'm glad that you thought about slowing down, running motion, etc. But that's why it's important. And here on the screen, I think the referee does a very good job on moving to the right where that play is going to go to be able to have a better view of this instance. Okay. Nicola, any comments on this one, perhaps? 30 seconds, by the way.
No, you hit on everything. Can you hear me?
Yes.
No, everybody and yourself, you hit on everything. Participant says he was making himself bigger, and there was the deliberate movement towards the ball. He realized the ball is gonna go behind him, and he chose to keep that hand there and make the movement towards the ball in that last second, if you will.
Right.
And that's why we should have this as a handball offense.
Very good. Thank you so much, Nicola. And then, Walter, thank you for your comment. Yeah, you can look at what the referee decides on these examples, but not every time, is the correct decision, okay? Everyone at all levels, the referee starting out all the way to FIFA, professional referees make mistakes. So again, just be mindful of that. We're trying to practice on the considerations as far as the handball or no handball. Okay, so great. Thank you. Very good, everyone. We'll get maybe one, maybe two more, and then we'll wrap it up, and then we'll open it up for questions so we can stay on time. Man, this is going by fast. Oh, this is a good example. Let's see what the group thinks. All right, so we got a few angles, a few replays. You're the referee.
I'm curious to see this one. So here
Yeah.
to see the poll.
Exactly,
Now,
Abby.
based on the information you've given so far, I want to see.
That's correct. That is correct. And you were reading my mind, Abby. You were reading my mind. And as you guys are answering the poll, we're at 80%. But these type of examples and incidents, what we've seen so far, can happen anywhere from U12 and above in the youth environment, as well as the adult environment. And as you can see, even in international youth and adult events, such as FIFA's events all over the world. So again, they're not unique to the professional or any environment, semi-professional. They're all the way down to U12. U16s, etc. Boys, girls, we've seen examples here. Okay, so again, it's those considerations so that we can be as consistent as we can throughout. Okay, this one, 85%. I don't know, maybe a couple of you were not too sure or something. Come on. But let's share. And this is very interesting, Abby. So 54, 46.
No, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, this is the expectation, and it'll be interesting. So again, we'll need someone from the side that says handball, and somebody from the side that says no handball. So let's start with those of you that say no handball here. Okay, raise your hand, especially if you haven't participated. Mary Beth, we're gonna wait on that one. Thank you, though. Let's give it a shot to someone.
Oh, sorry, I didn't put my hand up. Sorry.
Oh,
Am I
it
good?
shows me that it's up. Sorry about that. Oh, Eric.
sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
Oh, sorry.
Eric,
There you go.
you're saying no handball, Eric. Let me see. Eric, adelante, por favor.
Yes, can you hear me, Pedro?
Sí, yes.
Para mí, primero el balón toca en el pie del jugador y después sale como un rebote. First touch the feet and then the ball going to the hand.
Very good. Thank you. Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah, yeah, you see, first touch the feet and then the hand.
Okay. Y por eso no hay infracción. And that's why you
Ah.
have no offense.
Estoy, la posición de la mano me tiene en duda ahorita, que sí, pero es lo que decidí, no handball.
No offense. Okay. So very good. Now let's get someone from the other side, the one of you that says handball. And Eric, stay here because we might have to talk a little bit. What those of you that said no, this is a handball. Eric, right now, no handball. Somebody else, please raise your hand if you said handball.
Everybody, please feel free to join in.
Yeah.
This is a learning environment for all of us. So don't feel like, or maybe I'm right or wrong. It's not about that. We are just trying to apply so we can see it better and just have a better clarity. And as we know in soccer, it is the most controversial part of the law, handball. So don't feel like you might say something wrong. And not just for handball, anytime we have these sessions, please. So
Very good.
join.
Thank you, Abby. Jay, you raise your hand. Thank you. Let us know.
So in this case, it's impossible to judge intent, and I think it's very hard to referee these types of plays. I don't think there's any intent for that player to hit the ball with the arm, but it clearly hits the ball with the arm. The arm is moving towards the ball in an extended outside the profile of the body. So
Okay.
even though there was no intent, in my mind, it's a clear handball.
Okay. Yes, and I'm going to rephrase a little bit, Jay, because again, you keep using that word intent, but I think what you mean is deliberate, which is the number one on the three that we talked about before, where in your mind, I think you're seeing that hand coming down towards the ball, and so it would be categorized under deliberate, right? Is that what you're saying? Somewhat?
Well, right. You can interpose intent and deliberate. I don't think there's a deliberate play.
Oh, good.
I don't, but you can't judge the intent. You can only judge by what you see in the final action. And the final action is that arm is coming towards the ball and makes contact below the armpit.
Right. That is a fact for sure. And now, Eric mentioned, Jay, that happens when? What did he say? Do you remember, Jay?
I couldn't understand.
Okay. You didn't translate what he said.
Oh yeah. So Eric said that this happened, what you just described, the ball making contact with the hand after the ball is blocked by that same player with the leg. So that's what he said. Eric, is that what you said earlier?
Yeah. Also, it for me it's not creating a barrier because it's not the body is not in front. Yeah, it's more from the side. But yeah, the ball goes to the hand for me.
Okay. Yeah. So if you hear that, Jay, you know, the defender number 2 is or 12, whichever number she is, she's extending her leg, right, to block and defend this shot on goal. And so she does that legally with the leg. And how fast, Jay, is this ball going, by the way?
Really fast.
I understand time and distance are relevant. So there's very
Bear with
little.
me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bear with me, Jay. And so this is a fast shot, right?
Correct.
And now it hits the leg, and then what else happens? What else happens? As you see here, where else does the ball hit?
The ground.
Yeah, maybe. Does it hit the ground again?
Yes. It hits the ground, and now, so it's already changed direction from the leg, from the ground, and the arm is coming down towards the body as it would be justifiable, right? But I do understand that, as we've talked about before, this hand or arm is away from the body, but is this really coming directly to that hand as in the previous examples, right? Remember the previous examples, the hand was out and then the ball straight to the hand. Here, this example, so shot on goal, the leg is used to block a fast moving ball, bounces to the ground, and now the ball moves up, as Eric was saying, to the hand that's coming down in that justifiable motion. Jay, does that help?
Pedro, let me give you a
Abby,
little
go ahead.
point. Can you go back a little bit to the video?
Yeah.
Go back to when it was playing. Live play.
Live play, yes.
Let it go. Stop it. Go back. Before she even blocked the ball. Go back, Pedro. When she was running to the ball. So everybody, stop. Go forward one time. Can anybody tell us where is her hand right now? Is it a normal motion? You know, somebody's running. Are they moving as she's running? Hands, when you're running, is your hand going on your side or is it going back and forth? That's the first question you should ask yourself. So look at her, even the way it is right now. She was in a player in a normal motion of running. It's part of what you look at when you talk about handball. We should not always just focus before the ball hit the hand. Part of things you have to consider is also, is the player movement an expected action as they were moving? There's something also, does the ball goes off the ground into the player's hand? It is in the law. There's also something that tells you, is it unexpected? There is also one part of the law that says, is the player taking a risk? Yes. As she was running, she is taking a risk. But as Pedro just showed it to you right now, this is the player blocking the ball to the ground, hitting her hand. If this ball went directly to the right hand on the opposite the right hand, it might be something different. Something different. So while handball is very confusing, part of what you should start learning about the handball is the player movement a natural way as they were running, as they were moving. And that will help you some. And anytime the ball hits the ground off of a teammate, the chances of handball diminishes a great deal. Oh yes, we can guarantee you're gonna have all the parents, all the fans, all the coaches telling you handball. It's okay telling yes, it hit the hand. It hit the hand, but it's natural, it's expected, whatever you want to describe it. Okay? Yes. I don't know, who was that? Who were you asking that question, Pedro? You asking somebody just now. Who was the person?
Yeah, Jay we're talking with Jay.
I don't know if that gives you a little more understanding, just along with what Pedro is sharing with you. And all of us, not just Jay, everybody.
Right. So Jay, does that help a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I understand the natural movement, but if a natural movement, has an arm, if it's out for balance, I mean, I don't think the player knows even where the ball is. So
that's key. Thank you.
That's the key.
Yep.
Yeah. But
that is the key.
It still hits the arm, and the arm is out from the body. That's where I'm kind of getting stuck. So
yeah. So just add to that, as we discussed, the additional context as to how the ball gets to that point. In the previous examples, the ball got there to an arm away from the body, from the foot of the kicker, the opponent, to that hand, right? Versus here, it's a block, it's a fast the ground, and then bounces up.
Yeah.
And that's how you're going to explain to players or coaches. That's why this is not a handball. Okay?
Please feel free to tell the players. It's okay to tell them. Not telling them creates more confusion.
Right.
Just let them know.
Yeah. Very good. Well, thank you, Jay. Thank you, Eric, and everyone else in the poll. Do we have more time, or we are out of time here?
Yeah, why not? Let's do one more. Then we'll finish.
Okay. Let's do one more, everybody. And then we'll wrap it up. All right. Let's see where we land on this one as a group. Let's see. Okay, so please make a decision. Good, everyone's voting, or almost everyone, yeah. We're at about 70%. %. Uh-oh, we're getting stuck. What happened? 5 more seconds. And make your selection. There we go. We're moving a little bit. Okay. So on this one, close to 80% handball, we're going to call it. And then 20%, about 20% no handball. All right, so let's go to the majority. Why do we say handball? And if you have not raised your hand before, please do raise your hand and let us know what is your consideration, one of the considerations for you in this example. Okay, SC.
Can
Yep.
you guys hear me okay?
Yep. Yes.
One of the considerations for me is that she's not close to where the ball was kicked by the offensive player, so she has time to react and maybe move her hand out of the way.
Fantastic. Phenomenal. Very good. Very good. You picked up on that distance and knowing the trajectory, being able to see the ball. Very good. Someone else, please. Is there anything else besides the distance, having time?
Is that for me or for someone else?
Oh no, somebody else, please.
Okay, sorry.
Thank you, SE. Stand by though. Kevin. We got Kevin.
Hi there. It sounds to me like it looks to me like she kind of moves her hand. Sorry, I'm getting a lot of feedback on this.
Yeah, let me see. Hold on. Try again, please.
Can you hear me? Beautiful. It looked to me like she was moving her arm actually towards the ball. And she was kind of hanging it out there, waiting for it to kind of like touch and then pretend to pull it back. And the other thing I would say is her reaction afterwards.
Yes.
A bit of a giveaway. So it's down by her side. She puts it up and then it hits her arm and she kind of pulls it back.
Okay, very good. So both of you, Leslie, Kevin, hit on the main items here as a check for understanding, as we've discussed But every now and then there'll be examples, right? Like we saw before this. So again, hopefully this gives everyone, a better understanding of these three things that make it, well, two things: the deliberately touching the ball, moving the ball towards there, like this example, and one more other at least, and then the making the body bigger where it's not justifiable. Okay. And we saw an example of where it was justifiable because it was, a block and all of that. Okay, so we have run out of time. I'm just gonna pick, share a few more slides, closing remarks, but overall as a group, again, done very well, participation wise, and then, discussion wise, the polls, and then sharing your thoughts. And hopefully, again, this helps all of us to make some adjustments where needed. And those of you that got them all right, for example, tonight, you're on the right path. I want to share this slide because this is a resource you can find in the Learning Center. When you log in and you go to info and the resources, there's this considerations as well as, other challenges, offside, tactical fouls, penalty area in a condensed and short way. So tonight's session helped us increase our football understanding, and practice the use of these considerations. Remember, we talked about justifiable movement close to the body for support, or if there was some additional movement towards the ball, and then taking a risk as well. Okay, and
just
then
Pedro.
Yeah, go ahead.
I know you talk about the considerations. For all of you, if you go to ISRC website, the considerations is there. The detail, the one you see right here is just like some bullet point. It's condensed.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go to ISRC website, okay, under referee development, or you will see the considerations are there, and if you don't have it, okay, it's something you should literally put on your phone. You can download it and just put on your phone, or have a link on your phone. Those of you have smartphone, to the ISRC website, so you can quickly just go to it to reference once in a while. It is a good thing. Okay. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Abby. And then again, just to summarize, we talked about the ball making contact with the hand or arm, or vice versa. These two objects coming together is not always penalized, or is not always an offense. Keep that in mind. We saw a few examples of those. When does the handball occur? This happens for three reasons, as law says. Number one, we talked about it, deliberately playing or moving or slapping the ball. And then the second one, which got a little bit more discussion back and forth, so we can adjust here and there. Those of you that need to, and those of you that are already doing a good job, then keep that up. But this is what that has to do with taking a risk, making the body unnaturally bigger, and it's not justifiable, right? And then we didn't talk about it. We talked about it, but we didn't see examples. Maybe next time on scoring a goal, this must be called a handball if it's directly scored, even if accidental, or if it's immediate score, even if accidental. Okay. We didn't talk about position and reading, which can be another talk about it, so we can see. We didn't talk about misconduct. Sometimes these handballs can lead to misconduct. But again, we just wanted to focus on when is a handball, when it's not a handball. And we got through some good examples there. So thank you all. If you have any questions, we have maybe 5 minutes, Abby, at most. And you can put them in the
we can let him go. Thank you, everybody. Please.
Thank you, everybody.
If you have a topic, you want, send it to the office. Okay.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Hello. Pedro, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Nicola.
Yeah, I would just add for participants, if they're still there, I don't know, but they're not anymore.
Yeah, let me see. We have them still logging off.
I would just say not to be afraid to go out there and referee. And even if they make a mistakes, it's gonna happen. It happens to all of us. The point being is, if you happen to have a video or you work with somebody out there, stay after the game and analyze. Go through those situations that happened in a game, and why you did call a handball or you didn't call a handball. And that the more you analyze, the more you see in games and you talk with your crew, and going back to the laws and considerations is gonna make you learn from those and make you better for the next game, for the next decision.
Thank you very much, Nicola. And then good night, everybody.
Thank you and good night.